There's one little boy in particular that over the period of time I've really admired to watch him, is how determined he is. And I guess he's got a charisma about him. I guess he's turned into a very likable young man, and a very compassionate young boy for someone that's been through some of the stuff that he does. But I remember when I first met him, I was driving down Queen Street with some of the other kids, and I was picking them up on a Saturday. And this little guy comes over, and he had a mohawk. He was 8 years old, and he had a cigarette, and he had a knife. And he said to me, he said, "Mister," he said, "can I come with you?" And I looked at him. I had to do the double take. I couldn't believe that this was an 8-year-old kid talking to me. And I looked at him and I said, "Pardon me?" And he said, "Mister," he said, "can I come with you?" And I said, "I'll tell you what, buddy." I said, "You get rid of that knife." And I said, "I'll pick you up in the morning." So the next morning when I went to pick him up, there he was, big smile, and he jumped in the bus. And actually some of the people were saying, "Don't take that kid. He's bad. He bites, he fights, he spits, he breaks windows, he lights fires." But really, he was right up the kids that I was looking for. But anyway, we become pretty good friends, and still are today. This little boy, when I went to start the bus in the wintertime, there was this little guy, along with a few of his other friends, but there was this little boy in particular would be the kid that would pick up a broom and sweep the bus. When I took him out and bought him a pair of shoes, because he had none, he had a pair of old work boots on. He was very thankful and thanked me numerous of times for doing it. But anything that I would ask him to do, he would help me. He'd help me with the shopping, along with other kids. But it was to watch this little guy at his age be so interested in what I was doing, and would watch everything that I did. And he would pick up a broom and sweep the floor, sweep the bus. When I was sweeping the floor and cleaning the toilets, this little guy come right over and took the toilet brush and cleaned the toilets. And when it flooded, this little guy went and grabbed the mop. Or if I was carrying stuff, and even stuff that would have been too heavy, he said, "I'll help you." But he said, "Bobby, let me help you." But I've watched this kid grow over the years into a very fine young man, and actually someone to be very proud of. And this little boy in life, in our eyes, wouldn't have too much. But this little boy has a lot more than what we think he has. This little kid has a manners. He's got a heart of gold, with someone that's gone through some of the trials and the challenges in life that this guy, and the way he started out, to see him today, there's a different boy that stands before you. He's very caring, compassionate towards others. He's very unselfish. And whatever you ask him to do, without a doubt, he'll do it. He'll pick up anything. It doesn't matter if it's cold or if it's raining. He sweeps the bus. He helps get groceries. I said before, he cleaned toilets. But I watched some of the stuff that he does, and there was two little girls in particular that he would save stuff for during the week. And these two little girls were having a rough go. And I think a big thing that meant with him was that these little kids had no dad. And we would go down and pick them up, and when they come out, they weren't dressed very nice. And John started saving socks or a pair of shoes and different little things for these kids. And then on Sunday, when it would turn, when the bus pulled up, he'd go over and knock on the door and kneel down and show these two little girls what he had saved for them. And he'd hold their little hands, and away he would walk over to the bus. But a lot of people didn't know that little guy that was giving shoes away, his sneakers had holes in them. And it wouldn't matter, and he never complains. He'd always smile, and how you doing? And he'd always ask about other people, and very polite. So it does change kids, and caring does change.